This is the last part of our DIY special. The bike is now assembled and everything is working as it should. The bike is now ready to use. However, I'd like to show you how to make some final fine adjustments, how to optimize the bike and avoid injuries in order to fully enjoy your future rides. To sit correctly on your bike, you first have to adjust the saddle angle. Do not forget to check that the front wheel fork is completely pulled out before adjusting the angle. You can control the correct saddle position gradient by using a spirit level. If you experience an upward gradient, you should readjust the tip of the saddle downwards so it's level. When you've done this, you will have the correct gradient on your saddle. Next step is adjusting the height of the seat. The height of the seat is correct if you are able to reach the pedal with your heel when the pedal is in the 6 o'clock position. Your leg is supposed to be completely stretched out while doing this. Before you are able to adjust the back end of the seat by moving the seat back and forward, you need to make sure that the cleat is positioned right on your shoe. This is very crucial in order to get a good transmission of power and to avoid knee injuries and pain. Optimally, the center of the cleat should be on the invisible diagonal line that runs from the ball of your foot to the baby toe's main joint. Now we can move the line to the bottom of the shoe to see the optimal position for the cleat. The next thing you need is a plumb bob. Now you can click your foot into the pedals while they're placed horizontally. Now let the plumb bob drop down from your kneecap to create a vertical line that should run from the knee joint through the pedal axle. If this is not the case, you have to move the saddle forwards and backwards a little. Where you prefer to position the saddle is a personal preference. Furthermore, mountain bikers should consider investing in a telescopic seat post. This will enhance the safety and give a much better driving experience. The ability to adjust the saddle whilst on the move makes it easier for you to drive more technically and freely. If the saddle is lowered, you can easily find the optimal height again by using the telescopic support system. Let's move on to the handlebars. Back in the day, the rule of thumb said that length of the handlebar should correspond to a person's shoulder width. Nowadays, it's known that a shorter stem and a wider bar actually give you a better handling of the bike. In this case, the handlebars are 780 millimeters, which is very wide. However, with an enduro or an all-mountain bike, this would be considered a normal length. This particular 75mm stem is a good combination with this size handlebar. To adjust the brake lever, it's important that you choose a gradient which does not stress your wrists beyond acceptable limits, as this will lead to pain and numbness on your long bike rides. Your wrists should be in line with your forearm when your finger touches the brake. The brake should be positioned on the handlebar so that there is as much leverage as possible. Ensure that the finger rests on the outer part of the brake lever so that your finger can transfer the greatest power from your arm. In other words, the finger should rest on the outermost part of the brake lever. To ensure that we don't have to move our hands to brake and shift, we move the trigger further to the outside. Now you can brake and shift gears simultaneously without any hand movement. On the right-hand side, you can see that the brake is indeed under control, but shifting is not possible because in this case the clamp is on the wrong part of the brake. Should you still experience problems during bike rides like numb hands, you should check that the handlebars are not too low in relation to the seat height. This causes too much pressure on the hands. You can apply spacers underneath to raise the cockpit, or you can get a special grip from Escalap, Specialized or Airgun, which are a bit larger with a larger physical area to take the pressure off your hands. With the saddle, it's exactly the same. If you still have problems adjusting the tip of the saddle, try lowering it a few millimeters to put more pressure on the pelvic bone that rests on the saddle. That's it for the DIY specials. We hope you had fun. Last piece of advice before we end, you do not need to buy a lot of tools in order to fix your bike, just those of good quality. Have fun with fixing and riding your bike.
hinterher viel Spaß auf dem Trail.